The 2024 Ginetta Junior official E-Series comes to its penultimate round, and we head to the south of England to Kent for Brands Hatch. It's myself, Zach Sweeney. Alongside me is Jude Peters in the commentary box once again to talk you through all of the action. Of course, it's Tom O'Farrell behind the scenes, pushing the buttons and making the broadcast look lovely and pretty to follow all of the racing action tonight. Mick Sutton, of course, is the man to thank behind the scenes, and Jordan Taylor, who's had a lazy last couple of weeks as our safety car driver. Let's see if we're going to be able to spice the action up. Of course, the championship is totting up quite a lot. It's incredibly close, and potentially there is a mathematical chance it could be won tonight, but possible but improbable, let's put it that way. Alton Park, of course, kickstarted the season all the way back at the end of August. We head to Donington Park, then we went to Anglesey. Snetterton a couple of weeks ago, Silverstone last week was an absolute cracker, and now we head to Brands Hatch GP before, in a week's time, we'll head to Alton Park Island for our championship finale, where, of course, these young racers will be vying for some pretty serious cash money prizes. First place, of course, gets themselves free entry to the Ginetta Scholarship, which will be happening in a couple of weeks' time, to potentially vie for a seat on the 2025 grid. Second place, the runners-up gets themselves a decent prize in the form of 3 hours in the Ginetta Simulator and a Ginetta factory tour to see all the behind-the-scenes stuff. P3 gets themselves a 34-inch Samsung G5 gaming monitor to add to their sim rig, of course, or whatever they really want to apply it to. Of course, top-quality stuff. Driver of the round, we've had 5 of them thus far. Tonight will be no different, and a week's time as well will be no different. They'll get themselves a pair of 3M UK sim gloves, and the drivers that are on their top attendance, they're the most punctual, they get themselves a PASR cap as well to round off the season, and arguably that's the best prize of them all. But let's have a look at the championship, because of course it's been the story of one man and one man only for the last few weeks. Gabriel Norse dominating in his stead, 32 points clear of Logan McAllister. He needs a 72-point gap after tonight if he wants to clinch the championship. Mathematically possible, though likely improbable. Then behind that it's Will Clark, who does have potential actually of tipping Logan McAllister to second place in the championship, particularly if he can keep up a good run of form similar to the one that we saw at the beginning of the season. Nathan Snaith from Addison Smith vying for the places inside the top 5. Ishan Nijai, if it wasn't maybe for a couple of poor rounds at the start of the season, could well have been in contention, but of course you saw there round number 4 a couple of weeks ago at Snetterton really hit the ground running for him there, and it is in 6th. Lewis Morton Evans from Sam Chilton ahead of Harry Power are the top 9, with Riley Pogue just in behind that, of course getting that sensational second place finish at Anglesey. Anthony Roberts ahead of Kari Samuel, Max Goldley and Callum Boot to round off our 14-car grid. As you can see, the difference to first, those that are greyed out in their box unfortunately have not got a chance of getting themselves at the championship. Those that are greyed out in the diff to third, unfortunately the prize chance for them is done and dusted as well, which of course is a shame for them, but not the all doom and gloom. Still plenty to play for this season in terms of pride and glory. Alongside me, as I say in the commentary box, is one Mr. Jude Peters, who is as committed as ever. I'm here, with 2 screens, 2 monitors and a notebook. Jude Peters was like, nah, you know what? I'm at Brands, I've got priorities, I'm going to show up with an iPad. Jude, what are we expecting from this evening?
Well, yeah, I think, as you say, I am here at Brands Hatch. I think it's going to be a very interesting, race tonight. I haven't obviously raced here yet, but there's some pretty tight corners, pretty fast corners, and very committed corners. So I think we're going to expect to see some pretty good action, pretty good racing, and hopefully respectful racing. Otherwise, I think it can go quite wrong, especially out the back. But yeah, first corner being Paddock Hill Bend, a brilliant corner for overtaking and watching. And yeah, there's some really nice overtaking opportunities all around the lap. So I'm hoping that, especially after Silverstone, we're going to see some great racing tonight.
One driver, of course, that has been in the spotlight in terms of attention last couple of rounds is one Mr. Logan McAllister. And we were talking before the broadcast, obviously, in regards to his pace, and over 1 lap is a mighty force to be reckoned with. But for whatever reason, in the races, it just hasn't quite hooked up for him. The good thing about him, though, is the fact that he doesn't give up. He perseveres, he's determined, and whenever he gets beaten down, he takes 1 step backwards, but 2 steps forward and fights his way all the way back to the front. Unfortunately, that approach, as admirable as it is, really hasn't helped him in this championship.
Yeah, I mean,
you forgot to unmute yourself there, mate.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a fairly one-person championship so far, a little bit. I mean, well, I say that, not too much. We have had some action, but I mean, Gabriel's been so consistent that it's been difficult for anyone to stay, um, on top of it and keep the championship, which is why we're seeing a bit of a difference in the championship points. And as you say, it could be one tonight, but as you say, it is improbable. And I'm hoping that we are going to continue to see some great battling tonight, because it means not only do we have this round, but also next round to watch a championship battle. As you say, there are a couple of people that could win it. It's looking very likely to be Gabriel or Logan, with Gabriel having the advantage. And he's been very strong, as we can see now in qualifying. He is currently on provisional pole, a tenth ahead of anybody else. But the gaps are very close between the top three, being less than 2 tenths in the top three. So I'm sure we're going to see some great racing tonight, with close pace and people actually fighting for a championship in their battles as well. So yeah, I'm sure that we're going to see some very interesting action.
Almost guaranteed in a championship as tight as this. There you can see the 84 man himself, Gabriel Norse, making their way into the pit lane. 5.5 minutes left to go of qualifying, and they're going to be making their way back in, presumably maybe for some fresh tyres before going for their final runs. Of course, Brands Hatch, pretty much the complete opposite of what we saw last week at Silverstone National, a circuit where straight line speed was all the craze, and in terms of staying in that slipstream train and making the most of exit speeds. Here at Brands Hatch, it's tight, it's technical, and it very much is twisty, particularly towards obviously that back end towards Sheen and Dingle Dell, that complex, the blind apex right-hander. A lot of skill required to master this circuit, especially in a car that, in all honesty, is quite deceptively difficult to drive.
Yeah, it definitely is very tricky to get your head around. It takes some practice to understand how the car moves about, and how to keep it on the edge of that grip, and even a little bit beyond that grip, as we see Harry Power trying to get there and going a bit too much beyond the edge of the grip. But it's very much about keeping up the minimum with a little bit of a slide through the corner. So yeah, it's definitely a challenging car to drive, but it teaches you so much because of how hard it is to drive with car control. You were saying about it being a technical track, and that's very true. But what we do have to remember is there are two quite long straights, and from my own experience, the slipstream down the back there can massively help you out. So it's very important to keep in the toe down the back straight, as we see a suboptimal line there from Nathan Snaith. But you're right, you can take that time up if you don't have the slipstream in some of the more technical areas. So it's going to be about being committed, being precise, especially out the back section, and making sure that you've got it all under control.
Exactly that. Will Clark, of course, on this back straight towards Hawthorns, a very fast corner. Of course, I was under the impression we were at Brands Hatch Indy, thanks to Tom O'Farrell. So I jumped in the car, did some laps at Brands Indy, getting used to the car, and then realised I missed basically half of the circuit because we're here at the GP circuit, of course, and in what is, like I say, probably these next four corners. Oh my goodness me! Now that is a nice slide from Will Clark. Obviously from Hawthorns through the right, then down the hill towards Sheen and Dingle Dell. These are really the corners where you can make up a lot of time. Very satisfying to get right, very frustrating to get wrong. With 3 minutes to go in the session, who's going to be the one to get it right? It's Norse from Ishan Nijar as well up there, joining him on the front row. And interesting to note, he's only one of two drivers, himself and Harry Power, who are yet to win the driver of the round. Putting himself on the front row and putting himself maybe in good stead to be in competition tonight is probably a good way to get yourself in competition for some nice sim gloves at the end of the round.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as far as I'm aware, we certainly haven't seen Ishan Nijar that far up in qualifying. We've seen him on the podium twice in the races, but I don't believe he started on the front row before. And to be beating Logan McAllister is quite a feat. He's been, looking at pole second with Gabriel, and yeah, now he's breaking into that mix. He seems to be one of the drivers that has been working at it through the season, understanding the car, and he's massively picked up his pace, and he's been able to now get into that top three. So this is a great, very impressive drive from him. He's a tenth off of Norse, but he is about 700ths ahead of Logan. So yeah, really impressive from him. I'm sure he'll be delighted to be starting on the front row, being his first time, and it'll be very interesting to see what he can do from there, because we've seen from him in the past that he's been quite good at his racing. He's been able to not only keep it on the track, but capitalise on others' mistakes, and he's been able to pick up a couple of podiums by doing that, and improving throughout the season. So, yeah, I mean, that'd be very interesting to, if he's able to hold on to second, see how he fares on that first lap and throughout the race.
Ticking over into what will be his final qualifying lap of the session. Gets within half a tenth, well, just outside of half a tenth of Gabriel Norse. And with the way Assetto Corsa works, as long as that timer is ticking, and even when it ticks 0 as well, as long as you're on a lap, you are allowed to complete it. It's only when you cross the checkered flag that the session ends, unlike, say, iRacing or Racestream, where as soon as that timer ticks 0, it's session over. AC a little bit more lenient in allowing you to finish that lap. Logan McAllister on what is a very crucial and pivotal week in terms of his championship charge. Ideally, and while mathematically it's possible he loses the championship tonight, that probably won't be the case, provided he doesn't finish last in both races. And then, of course, Gabriel Norse takes the win and the fastest lap in both. Don't get me wrong, it's a possibility, but an improbable one at that. He really needs to be outscoring Gabriel Norse by a decent chunk. Ideally for him, it'd be the other way around. Him getting 2 wins and 2 fastest laps, and Norse finishing P7 in both races. That would be the most ideal scenario for Logan McAllister. Again, probably not a very likely outcome of this session, but all he needs to do is put his best foot forward and really have a turnaround from what has been on the back foot pretty much since his return at Anglesey.
Yeah, I mean, Logan's been such an unfortunate driver this championship. I mean, all you have to do is look at Silverstone to see that. I mean, there was a bit of a internet connection issue in the last round that caused him to spin and go to last, and he's had some contacts that put him back to last, and he's always had great recovery drives, but Gabriel just hasn't had that bad luck, and so he's been able to keep it in the front and win the races. So he's just been so unfortunate, and because of that, he's now coming into this penultimate round a little bit, as you say, on the back foot, and really needing to start outscoring Gabriel. And ideally for him, and very much not ideally for Gabriel, he would need Gabriel to start having some of that bad luck that we just haven't seen him have yet. And as you say, it is mathematically possible for him to lose it, but very unlikely. But it is a decent deficit in points between them for him to gain back, about 32 points, I believe. So we do need to start, well, he'll be hoping to start seeing Gabriel have a little bit of bad luck, and him start to hopefully use some of his, or have some luck, and take some of those points out of Gabriel so that he can go into the last round knowing that it's possible for him to win and not extremely unlikely for him to win.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to go in as a serious contender, not have it be a formality that Gabriel Norse is going to win the championship, which at this rate, it seems to be. It seems that we're just waiting for the coronation as opposed to the suspense as to who's going to steal the crown. Of course, qualifying in the books, it's Gabriel Norse that takes pole position for another time this season, and it will be another time that we get to chat to him in the commentary box as well. He's so far won 6 times this season from 10 races, 60% win rate. With that, he's only finished off the podium once, so he's got a 90% podium rate, and right now he's in the commentary box with us. Gabriel Norse, in what is the penultimate round of this championship, in what is a championship crown that almost seems almost certain to be yours, what are your thoughts and feelings after getting pole position?
It's very good. It kind of helps me to aim for the championship, which at the moment is seeming more likely than not, but I kind of just still have to see how my races go and just try not to get taken out.
That would be ideal. How confident are you then that that's not going to be the case through Paddock and into Druids?
Well, I kind of just hope that either Ishan or Logan doesn't try and send something on me, which just doesn't work. But I know them, they're very respectable when they're racing, so I don't think anything will happen.
Yeah, well, racing is always interesting to throw a curveball at you. Of course, Brands Hatch is a circuit. What are the challenges, and how is it like to drive the Ginetta Junior car around it?
It's a very challenging track, I find it. I quite enjoy it though, so it's definitely a fun one. Only really driven it a few times before now, but yeah, it's very good.
Indeed so. And of course, 2 races tonight. Does that mean 2 wins?
I'm hoping so, but you never know. You just gotta see how it goes.
Give you something to aim for. Technically, and by technically I mean mathematically, if you win both races with both fastest laps, and Logan is in P7 in both races, technically you're the champion on countback. So you've got some motivation maybe to go out there and get both wins and both fastest laps.
Yeah, well, that would be funny. But it's very unlikely because Logan is very quick. But yeah, kind of just see it. And if I'm quick enough, then I might get the championship by the end of today. But that's very unlikely.
We'll see. Thank you for coming and have a chat with us again this season, Gabriel, and best of luck for the race ahead.
Yep, thank you.
Gabriel Norse, our pole sitter and championship leader ahead of the penultimate round. 4 races left to go for the Ginetta Junior eSeries here in 2024. And just a quick segue, talking of other championships hosted here by Perfect Acceleration Sim Race in the Pro Sim Rig Super Touring 2024 Sim Series. There's the calendar. We've ticked off the first 2 rounds. Donington Park at the beginning of the month. Silverstone about a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, actually a week and a half ago. We'll call it at that. Spa actually though will be coming in a couple of, in fact on Tuesday, they're going to be going for 2 8-lap races around the Ardennes in what is a very fun championship, it must be said. The VRC Touring Pack, some historic cars that you won't have heard the new names of. You probably would have recognised the body shapes of them though. And there's the calendar. Brands Indy, Imola, Castle Combe to of course round off before we head into the month of December. Croft, and then the first race of 2025 at Alton Park. The intrigue of the Pro Sim Rig Super Touring 2024 Sim Series, say that 5 times fast, is that it's open setup, so you can tinker all you like. That's why there's some pretty big gaps in between each of the rounds, so you can tune the setup to your liking. You've got time to practice, and if that's something you fancy, definitely get yourself into the PASR Discord. There'll be a link in the description, and make sure you get yourself signed up. Or if you're more intrigued on watching, there is plenty of action to indulge in, of course, over those 2 races at Spa. It'll be Chris Dawes and Alex Newman to talk you through all of the action in a few days' time. So make sure you are tuning in, of course, for that. But for today, we'll focus on the stars of the future in the form of the Ginetta Juniors. And oh my word, Tomo Farrell is up in the game with our grid walk. Gabriel Norse will, of course, start from pole position in that 84 machine. Alongside him, it's going to be Ishan Nija in the 000. There he is in all his glory, vying for more podiums, but of course, the driver of the round with it as well. Logan McAllister starts from 3rd as he tries to work his way forwards, maybe to seal a chance at championship glory in a week's time. Will Clark, who's hanging on maybe to contention for 2nd place, and with it 3 hours in the Ginetta Simulator, as well as the factory tour, starts in 4th. Nathan Snaith, who isn't present, but hopefully will be in a couple of moments' time, will start from 5th, but right now it's an empty grid slot. Behind that, it'll be Lewis Morton Evans to round off row 3 before Harry Power joins, who will be Jordan Taylor on the 4th row. Of course, Jordan Taylor is the safety car. Be interesting to see if we need him. And the interesting thing about the safety car, actually, Jude, we've not had one since Donington, which I don't know if we had one at Alton Park because I wasn't here, but it's been a long time since we've needed Jordan to be out on track. At some point, the streak's got to end, right?
Yeah, it does. It would. You would think that way. We have seen some very, very respectful racing, in all fairness to the drivers, as it seems like Nathan Snaith is starting from the pit lane there. But yeah, we have had some very respectful driving, so we haven't needed the safety car too much. Brands Hatch is a track where it's potentially more likely, because tiny mistakes at the back and tiny contacts towards the back of the track can lead to quite big incidents into the wall. So there is potential for a safety car needed there, but if the drivers can keep it similar to how they have for the last few rounds, I'm sure we won't need too much intervention, and Jordan can keep sleeping at the back in the pit lane. So yeah, I'm sure for the drivers' sake, some of them will be hoping for one and some of them won't, but for a watching point of view, let's hope that there isn't a safety car.
We'll find out. Of course, we've got 1 minute and 20 seconds until the lights come on and we go green for the 4th to last race of 2024 in the Ginetta Junior official eSeries. Gabriel Norse has a chance at taking the championship, and with it, potentially the life-changing career opportunity in the form of a chance at the 2025 Ginetta Scholarship. where he will get himself a real-life race, similar to one Mr. Jude Peters, which is why, by the way, he's on an iPad. It's because he's racing this weekend. I suppose we can let him off for that as we get ourselves geared up for 2 20-minute races. 45 seconds before we get going. Brands Hatch, who's coming out on top?
Oh, I reckon Gabriel's going to be able to do it if he keeps it clean off the start.
Well, we'll have to find out, as anything can happen at Paddock Hill Bend, and I've witnessed that firsthand for the first race of the Rocket Racing Star Formula 4 Esports Competition UK, where the prize, similar to this, was a seat in British F4 for 2023. Kai Bicini, I will not forget, made it 3 wide into Druids. I was on the outside and got absolutely shafted. Absolutely anything can happen. We'll find out, of course, as the 5 red lights will illuminate your screen. It's Nordstrom, Nijar, McAllister and Clark, the front 2 rows. 20 minutes here at Brands Hatch. Lights are out, we go racing as we hurdle our way towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. It's a uniform start from pretty much everyone as Nathan Snaith crawls his way out of pit lane. It's Gabriel Norse that defends to the inside. What can Ishan Nijar do as he tries to attack? Will Clark looks to the inside of turn number 1 as well, but again it's single file for the entirety of the top 6. A little bit wide from Gabriel Norse as we ascend up the hill towards Druids, but everyone so far, Jude, on their best behaviour.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some very clean racing now. It's looking less likely for the safety cars. That's one of the biggest places that he's likely to come out, is off the start. But Gabriel has already got a half a second gap, which he's going to be very pleased with. As we see Will Clark there looking down the inside of Logan, but just can't keep it. And now he's going to lose out behind to Lewis Moore and Evans a little bit there, and having to go defensive. But yeah, it looks like Gabriel is going to be very happy with that. He's got a 7/10 gap as we come now onto the back straight. 8/10 should I say, and it's increasing, so he's clearly got a good exit there. The cars behind, Ishan Nijar and Logan McAllister, very close together as Will Clark and Lewis Moore and Evans are actually side by side. But it looks like Ishan Nijar and Logan McAllister might be trying to work together, because I think Logan backed out of that just a little bit. As that's Lewis Moore and Evans, they're going very, very wide. That's one place where it's very easy to lose it and go into that wall, as we see there on the left. He was able to keep it out the wall. Goes a little bit wide into this next corner, allowing Harry Power to close in the gap just a little bit. But yeah, as we look back towards the front now, that's Logan McAllister and that's Ishan Nijar. They're going very wide, managing to hold it. Very impressive and keeping it down the inside, and he should be having that. And nope, Logan gets back at him, going now side by side towards the final corner, and Gabriel is absolutely loving this.
Yeah, very much is. Look at that gap. 2 seconds off the opening lap is monumental. It's McAllister versus Nijar, of course, and what a battle it's turning itself out to be. Will Clark not a million miles away either after dispatching that short battle with Lewis Morton Evans, where, of course, it was the number 8 that ran ever so slightly wide, but a lap ticked in the books, and 2 seconds. Gabriel Norse leading the way. At this point, he is his worst enemy. He is the only person that can topple him, because I'm not confident that McAllister has the pace to close in 2 seconds unless there's a mistake.
Well, we have seen it in the past. You know, Logan has proven himself to probably one of the quickest drivers at hot lapping. It seems that once he gets into his rhythm, no one else can seem to compete with him, really, as he has caught this level of gap to the likes of Gabriel in the past, and he's got a longer amount of time to do it than he has done it in the past as well. So if we see him get into his rhythm, then I'm sure he might be able to have a good chance at challenging for the lead here, as yeah, Logan has the most fastest laps as well. However, he's got the pressure of Ishan Nijar behind him, and it's not just a half a second gap that he can kind of forget about a little bit. We're talking about less than 2/10, and we're talking about a gap that Ishan Nijar is going to want to get back, since he lost it off the start because he was P2. So Logan is really not going to be able to just give up and try and attack forward here. He's going to have to keep his eyes on Ishan Nijar, make sure he doesn't go for any silly moves that he has to defend or potentially lose time to Gabriel because of. So he's not in a position where he can easily get into a nice rhythm, start doing fastest laps and catch Gabriel, because I'm sure that if he was on his own, he could potentially start to do that and catch up that 2.5 second deficit to Gabriel. But the key thing is that it is 2.5 seconds, so it's increased half a second this lap, and Gabriel there goes and does the fastest lap. I say that, and so does Logan, goes and beats him, and then Will Clark does the fastest lap. But Gabriel there was able to pull a bit of a gap to Logan, as we see there Ishan Nijar going into that gravel. and that's actually pivotal for Logan, because that gravel completely destroys your momentum. Now Logan has a, 1 second, 2 second gap, 1.5 second gap behind, so he can now potentially start to get into that rhythm that we've seen before.
Yeah, your focus very quickly turns from sort of 50-50 looking in your mirror, looking out the windscreen, to, okay, I'm good. I'm focusing forward. I have one target, and it's my championship rival. At this point for Logan McAllister, he needs to have a win it or bin it mentality. He's had too many bin its. So right now, you take it on the chin and you just go, because at this point you need to start taking risks. There is nothing to lose apart from obviously a top 3, but even then, that is unrealistic for him to lose. He is walking away with something this season, and ideally he wants it to be a shot at a 2025 race seat. Ishan Nija, though, of course, that mistake puts him on the back foot hugely, because like you say, it's so easy to do. Paddock Hill Bend, it's a corner you take in 4th or 5th gear, depending on the driver, depending on preference, and it's downhill. You've taken a decent chunk of speed through, and it's not like these Genettas have got a lot of downforce. They've barely got any. They've got a slight little rear wing at the back, skinny tyres, and that's pretty much it in terms of aerodynamic and mechanical grip. So it's understandable that mistakes do happen. Lewis Morton Evans versus Nathan Snaith, they're doing battle through into that's Murray's coming out of that towards Clark Curve. That's for 5th place, but you can forgive him. It's a mistake we've all made through paddock.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I made it only yesterday in the real car, so it's definitely a very easy mistake to make, because you have to carry so much speed through there. But if you carry an extra mile an hour, then that's it, and you go in the gravel. So and if you can hold it out of the gravel, that's also quite impressive, because it's very easy then to dip 2 wheels in, lose a bit of grip and spin, as we saw some people do in qualifying. So yeah, that was great from him to keep it going. It does unfortunately mean his chances of catching Logan are slim, but he has unfortunately also lost out to Will Clark, as we can see now this battle starts to rage on. But looking back at that gap at the front, Logan immediately took a little bit of time out of Gabriel, but now it's gone back up and he's lost about 4/10. I'm not sure if there was a mistake there, or maybe he's just not quite got that pace that Gabriel seems to have. But this is going to be very interesting. With 13 minutes to go, 3.3 seconds, and sort of hovering about the same, I would say. I have heard that, Logan did make a small mistake. So it'll be very interesting to see if Logan feels like he's got that pace over Gabriel and can catch him by the end of these 13 minutes. But we've got a very nice battle going on here between Will Clark and Ishan Nija for that final spot on the podium, looking to get those important points to potentially take that 3rd spot with that, I believe it's a Samsung gaming monitor, to take that 3rd spot in the championship. So yeah, it's certainly not an over race here, not going to be a boring race.
Most definitely is not. 12 minutes 47 left to go in this race. Ishan Nija trying to get the run out of Clark Curve, where the exit is of course all important. Will the move fabricate coming into Paddock Hill Bend? You're very close to the car behind. That is risky business in of itself. Half defensive goes Will Clark, just puts it in the middle of the track, gives Nija the choice. He's going to choose the inside line, but the outside works for Will Clark. Look at that bravery from the 48 to saw his way the long way around. Don't really think Nija was overly committed to making that one stick. Otherwise, they both would have been losers in that particular battle. The gap at the front has slightly come down by a couple of tenths of a second as well. Last time by a 46.7 for McAllister, a 47.6 for Gabriel North. So I say it came down by a couple of tenths, came down by a good 9 tenths or so, but it means nothing if McAllister can't retain that and sustain that for the next 12 minutes. There's the gap visually. When you see it like that, it's not that big. However, that in of itself is a huge mistake from Harry Power, who's going to need to very much push himself out of the gravel trap there at Paddock Hill, and doesn't seem to be moving very fast, very quickly, and will probably be seeing himself 7th place at the end of this race. Back to the fight though for 3rd. Ishan Nija not going anywhere off the back of Will Clark.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing great here to hold on to Will Clark. It's a difficult track to follow around. So yeah, that's great for him to stick onto him as he's going for a move down the inside into a very fast right-hander. Makes Will Clark have a slight mistake, but not enough to get past. That would have been a very brave move. I think he's just trying to get into his head a little bit there to throw him off, which half worked, just not quite enough. And I'm sure this seems like a battle that's going to be continuing for a while. However, Harry Power is struggling to get it out of the gravel, and that could be pivotal for this championship, as that could potentially mean that Logan catches up to Gabriel with a safety car, as I'm hearing that a safety car is potential to come out, and if that did happen, then that would make a big change, but certainly not banking on it, as no, there won't be any safety car. So Logan's going to have to do that work all by himself to catch up that gap, which is going to be difficult to tell if he can do. He has taken a big chunk out, but we will certainly have to see. But this battle for third has the gap has increased as Ishanija seems to have made a small mistake, but that's certainly not over. He's stayed in that slipstream. If he can get a good exit onto that back straight, then he will potentially be able to challenge for that third spot and that final step on the podium. But as we look back at the gap again, it's dropped by about another 2/10. So yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see. And Logan McAllister now really trying to get into that rhythm and just start taking chunks out of Gabriel and potentially put a little bit of pressure on him just to enhance the speed at which that gap decreases by making Gabriel make some mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. 9 minutes, 50 seconds on the clock. Will Clark, Ishanija, of course, doing battle for third place. In terms of the championship, by the way, for these two, Will Clark is sat third. Ideally wants to be closing in on McAllister. Only got a 19-point deficit between himself and a 3-hour session in the Ginetta simulator, and of course that factory tour to go with it. Then again, a Samsung G5 gaming monitor, not too bad either. I've just done a quick little Google, and Curry sell them for 800. I was going to say 800. They're not quite that good. £189 worth of kit for that monitor. That's how you know it's the real deal, and of course would be a nice upgrade to any person's sort of sim rig or gaming setup, or even just to have wherever, to be honest. I definitely wouldn't mind with an extra monitor, in all honesty. So he's going to be vying for that, or of course for that second place prize as well. Ishanija, though, by the way, is currently sat 6th place in the championship, 6 points behind Addison Smith, who hasn't turned up today, and he's already had his drop score of 2 no-shows. That was at round 4 at Snetterton, so he'll be promoting himself into the top 5, maybe getting after Nathan Snaith, who sat 5th. Of course, that gap only going to be closing by a couple of points in this race, so will be slightly harder for him to catch. Logan McAllister somewhere must have made a mistake, because the gap has once again skyrocketed to 3.6 seconds. It seems that he's got the pace. He just needs a few clean laps under his belt to close the gap.
Yeah, I mean, he's just doing those couple of qualifying laps and then seems to make some small mistakes there. So easy to do around this track, of course. You dip a wheel into the grass, you dip a wheel into the gravel, and you immediately lose some time there, as we did see him do earlier. As Will Clark there, looking like he made a mistake, and through goes Ishan Nijar, and he's now dropped back by about 2.5 seconds to Nijar, so that's not ideal for him. But yeah, Logan, it's a shame for him, because that wasn't so much bad luck as small mistakes there, maybe putting some pressure on himself to catch up to Gabriel and take some chunks out of him, and just made a small mistake that's cost him about a second. So if that keeps happening, he's definitely not going to be able to take the time out of Gabriel that's needed. And with 7 minutes left, it's looking less and less likely as every second goes by. But yeah, as I say, it's so easy around here to make those tiny mistakes. You've got to be so on the limit around here, and by being on the limit, you force yourself to being on the grass potentially, because there's just no runoff anywhere. Just thinking about it now, apart from Druids, that second corner, there is no runoff anywhere. So yeah, it's very difficult to keep it on the track with the gravel and grass being so close, almost like a mini Nürburgring out the back here. So yeah, unfortunate for Logan, and I'm sure he's going to be kicking himself a little bit there. We say that, he is in second, of course, but he will be wanting to start taking points out of Gabriel in order to close back that championship, which is a shame for him, as I've just heard now that Logan has a 5-second time penalty post-race, presumably for track limits. We did see him using some track limits earlier, and perhaps those have started to add up now, but that's massive for him because, well, he's now got to catch Gabriel by 8.7 seconds. So yeah, that is very much probably not going to be happening unless Gabriel goes into the gravel and spins. So that does seem to be this race kind of over for him a little, but he does need to just make sure now that he actually pulls even more of a gap to Ishan Nija, otherwise he'll drop down to third.
Yeah, exactly. Got to be very careful. 6 minutes left to go, and Logan McAllister, all the pressure is on. That is not the way that you want to have a chance at, of course, securing a championship. I mean, he's already on the back foot. And after this one, we're only going to have 3 more races, and with it only going to be, was that 105 more points? But of course, it'll be then 108 if you factor in fast lap points. And when we're towards the tail end of the season, 5-second penalties here and there will add up. At the moment, it's not going to make any difference to Logan McAllister. He will keep second place. What it means is that it's ceiling. That is his ceiling, right? Unless Gabriel Norse makes an absolutely catastrophic error, there is nothing that McAllister can do, really. And there's not really much that Norse can do to lose this race either. New personal best just come in for McAllister, 47.198, and not quite the fastest lap. The only driver to get into the 46 is Shot Cora, is the only Gabriel Norse at the moment running out in front. Of course, that also includes valid laps, so any track limits they get don't get counted towards the overall fastest lap. So right now, Gabriel Norse doing exactly what he needs to do: pole, win, fastest lap. Sure, McAllister's not in P7 for him to secure the championship, but come Oldham Park, he's making his life so much easier.
We've seen this again and again from Gabriel, just that consistency and ability to stay out in front without any mistakes. And it's working again, it's happening again. He's just able to hold that 4-second gap without Logan really being able to do anything. And with Logan being under so much pressure, he can't really, get that optimal pace down without making some mistakes. And Gabriel now, he can just kind of be in a little bit of a cruise control mode, not really pushing massively hard because he doesn't need to, just manage that gap, and he's then able to hold the victory, because there's 4 minutes left. So even if he loses, half a second a lap or more, he's not going to lose this, a second a lap or more, he's not going to lose this P1. So he doesn't need to push super hard, doesn't need to risk making any mistakes. So he's in the position that we've seen him in be quite a few times now, with his huge streak of podiums, and he's able to just hold it out in front, make few mistakes, be under not much pressure, and kind of hold it out in front. But we look at second and third place, again, we're looking at the gap between Logan and Nisha, and it's about, about 3 seconds, which is not enough for Logan to hold on to second at this point. He'll be dropping back to third, I believe it is, if I can see where Will Clark is. He'll be dropping back to third, which, again, for his championship, is not going to be ideal. I mean, we're already looking at Gabriel being in a very strong position, and for Logan to not be taking points out of him, and to be dropping back even further than second, is not great for his championship. So it does look like Gabriel is going to be in a very strong position to win this.
Does indeed. Not just this race, the championship as a whole. It's all been boiling down to this, really. 3 minutes left to go. Of course, just under. That's going to be... actually, I don't know how many. I think we're going to get 2 more at the end of this lap to bring it to the end of this race, to make what will be an 11 or 12 lap affair by the time we get to it. Of course, if you are watching along at home, hello and welcome. If you are just joining us, make sure you're like, subscribed, and turn the bell on as well for notifications to stay up to date with all things PASR. Of course, the company that go all around the country to all different motorsport events here in the UK, and give you that arrive and drive sim racing experience. £10 for 10 minutes, and of course a lot of fun to be had with hot lap competitions and things relevant to the event that we're at as well. So make sure if you are at any sort of MSV circuit or event in the UK, you keep an eye out for the PASR track and the sims. There's usually a pretty hefty queue with it as well, so make sure you're getting in there early, making sure you're making the most of the event. It'll definitely add a lot to it. But also plenty of different championships here as well. You can of course race in the 2024 Pro Sim Rig Super Touring Sim Series that we've got going on there. Next round coming in at Tuesday, but also a lot of fun races coming the week after this Ginetta Championship ends. A fun race championship starts in the form of the teams, slightly altered format, some quirky rules, and a lot of fun for you and your mates to jump into. Promise you the most difficult part of that will be assembling a group of mates to jump in, as is the universal problem of sim racers, I suppose. But all in all, should be a lot of fun to get yourself into. And of course, for the young'uns, if you're didn't quite make the cut for the Ginettas. You didn't quite manage to get yourself in. The Junior Saloon Car Championship will be coming at the end of December as well. Just going to sprinkle that in. Hopefully more news to come in the coming weeks as well. 1 minute 10 left to go in this race. It's Gabriel Norse that leads, 3 seconds clear of Logan McAllister. With this penalty though, of course, that means it's an 8-second lead as he guns for his 7th win of the season. Well, I mean, how can he lose it, Jude, is the question. How isn't Gabriel Norse going to win this championship?
There would have to be some very, very, very silly mistakes from Gabriel or some incredibly bad luck. But he would need a lot of it because he would need to kind of be not finishing pretty much in all of the remaining races with Logan winning. I don't know that to be exactly true, but it would be sort of that level potentially. Actually, no, sorry, it wouldn't be anything like that. But, there would have to be a big drop-off from Gabriel here for Logan for him to lose this, with him having a 32-point lead before this race, and this will extend it by another 5 points, so it'll be 37. So yeah, if he was to, start scoring very few points, and Logan kept winning, he could definitely quite easily make up that gap, but it would mean that Gabriel would have to very, very significantly drop off from his position. He's been Logan would have to very significantly drop off from his position. But it does look like Gabriel has made a mistake, and Logan has caught him by about 2 seconds. And yeah, he's now 2.2 seconds as opposed to just over 4. So either Gabriel has made a mistake there, or he's very cleverly managing the gap on this final lap, making sure that he doesn't go wide, making sure that there are no mistakes. But yeah, that's I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah, I mean, as we say, Gabriel is in a very strong position for this championship, and it would take a very strong turn of events for that to change.
Would indeed. Half a lap left to go. Hello and welcome to those now just joining us in the YouTube chat. You've joined pretty much at a perfect time to celebrate what will be the 7th victory for one Mr. Gabriel Norse, who's very much in conservation mode to bring it home to the end of this race. We've of course got some interesting racing coming up just after this. A full reverse grid, of course, minus Harry Power, who DNF'd a few laps ago. Thank you to those tuning in. Let us know your thoughts, feelings, queries, questions, whatever tickles your fancy as you're seeing potentially the future of British motorsport here today. As with just 1 corner left to go, Gabriel Norse, for the 7th time this season. Of course, he started from pole position once more. He's ticked off a sensational fastest lap to go with it, and is writing history for the 2024 Ginetta Junior official eSeries out of the final corner. He's coming towards the line. He'll see the checkered flag first, and for the 7th time this season, it's Gabriel Norse who arguably puts one hand on the championship trophy. McAllister comes home in 2nd place. 5-second penalty to go with it. Ginetta 9 seconds back will complete the podium, of course, from what was a front row start for him. Dropped back behind McAllister, but was able to make up for it and still bring himself onto the podium. Will Clark, unfortunately, unable to continue what has been a really good run of form in terms of podium percentages. Nathan Stathan, Lewis Morton Evans will make his way across the line. Just going to update you as to regarding the penalty situation when we can. McAllister, of course, did get one for track limits, but whether we got another one or not, we'll of course find out, which I'm sure we will find out in good time because we have got all 3 of them in. Ginetta, not the only time we've spoken to you this evening, this season, but it's been a couple of weeks. Another podium here at Brands Hatch. How does it feel?
Well, it feels pretty good, to be honest. I mean, the battle with Logan was quite nice at the start. I had a good start, and I felt like I had a chance to start battling with Gabriel, but unfortunately, with Logan behind me, it's not the first time that's happened. It's quite a little pressure, So, I mean, I was quite happy to be the car behind when he did get past. I thought, all right, let's just be smart about our race. But then obviously I had the little mistake, went off at the exit of turn 1, and that put Will in front of me, and then I just kind of try to drive a good race from there, try to attack Will. It was quite a good battle. Unfortunately, there was a bit of contact, but I don't really want to talk too much about that because I know the regulations are quite strict. But all in all, I think it was a good race for P3.
Of course, reverse grid coming up next. That's going to put you smack bam in the middle of the grid. Are you confident of your chances then? I mean, is it going to be another podium, or are you vying for more?
hopefully I can get another podium. I mean, podium is the aim. Obviously, anything more, I'll definitely take it. But it will be quite interesting to see how me, Will, Logan, and Gabriel fight through the pack on this second race. If, like, you know, I know sometimes it's better to work together, but it's also sometimes better to battle, and it's going to be quite interesting for the viewers, I'd say, but quite stressful for the drivers.
Anything you got to say to some of the fans out there of Isha?
Well, thanks for supporting me, I guess. But yeah, I'll try and see what I can do in the second race.
Hopefully you can bring it home from watching along at home later on.
Yeah,
Fingers
yeah,
crossed.
hopefully.
We'll see. Another podium. Thank you for chatting with us.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you
Thank
after race 2 as well. We'll move up the podium. Logan McAllister, second place. Probably, would you say that's the best you could have asked for today, or do you think the win is there for race 2?
The win is definitely there for race 2. Our pace was strong, but Gabriel's was as well. It was really hard to catch up because he's such a consistent, fast, quick driver. At the start, obviously, I had that really good battle with Ishan. It was just annoying because it cost us a few seconds. But at the end, I managed to claw back some time on Gabriel. It's a shame there's not another extra minutes to hopefully maybe have made a move. But yeah, P2's not that bad. Again, a good result for the championship. But obviously, we need to keep getting these first places really to haul in these championship points. And hopefully, obviously, overtake Gabriel.
That's going to be the difficult thing. Of course, reverse grid coming up. You're going to be starting ahead of him. I mean, you've got to both go forwards through the pack and also keep Gabriel behind. Is that going to be a challenge? I mean, also through race 1, you found out firsthand as to how tough track limits can be. Is that going to be something you're going to keep your eye on as the race develops as well?
Most definitely, yeah. It'll just be carving our way through the fields cleanly, not taking many risks with going around the outside because the gravel is lethal around here. But yeah, it'll just basically be carving our way through the field and hopefully building a gap to Gabriel.
Well, best of luck for the race ahead, and hopefully there's a lot to write home about after race 2.
Thank you very much.
Logan McAllister, P2 in race 1, P2 in the championship currently, but the man on a mission, Gabriel Norse, well, you did exactly what you needed to. Pole, win, and the fastest lap. What's to come for race 2? What can we expect? Because at this point, you've set the bar so high, you can't exceed our expectations. You can only match them because the expectations you've set are so high in of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's very nice to come away with the win, pole, and fast lap because I just thought I had the pace today, and I did. And then for this race, I'm just going to kind of try and get myself up the field as quickly as possible, but without any incidents, hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed. That's going to be the plan. I mean, we've touched on track limits. For you, how many excursions did you have, and how difficult is it actually to keep it within the confines of the track? Because typically, Brands Hatch, if you go off, you've lost time. So there's not really much of an advantage to be had with track limits, and yet people seem to be finding ways of running, more than 2 wheels off.
Yeah, I was only off track once. I saw Logan in my mirrors was off track quite a few times, and I think his fastest lap was deleted because of it. But yeah, I mean, as soon as you go off, you just lose time. It's not really any benefit for you. So I'm just gonna try and keep it in the track limits for this next race.
Always an aim. I mean, the championship in of itself, I mean, is today just getting as many points as you can without taking too many risks to make your life next week a lot easier?
Yeah, really, I just need to not take too many risks because I'm in the best position and it will be quite hard for me to lose it now. But yeah, I kind of just need to be sensible and think about the long game rather than just in the moment.
Awesome stuff. Well, we let you go to get to the grid. I mean, I'm sure you've probably built up a lot of fans beyond your family, I'm sure, this season. Anything you want to say to them before we get gearing up for race 2?
Yeah, I think some of my friends are watching, so if you are, thanks, lads. So, yeah.
Awesome stuff. Gabriel Norse, a star of the future, hopefully. And give us some fireworks for race 2.
Yeah, I'll try.
Awesome stuff. Take care, and we'll see you in 20 minutes probably.
Yep, thank you.
And Jude, of course, a very chirpy young lad is Gabriel Norse. He's got his friends watching along. He's confident, right? He's riding that wave, and understandably so. As we get ourselves to the grid with the reverse grid, of course, the finishing order of race 1 flipped, of course, on its head. Minus Harry Power, who's decided not to come with us. But that confidence is a powerful tool, especially at such a young age, right?
Yeah, absolutely is. I mean, confidence and that mindset is half the battle, really. So the confidence that he's got is massively going to help him. That belief that he's better than the other drivers, especially in this race being reverse grid, where he now needs to fight all the way up the pack, is going to help him because he truly believes that he's quicker than everybody else. So he's going to be immediately looking to make those moves as quickly as possible on everybody to ensure that he ends up at the front. And we've seen it from him quite a lot in the first, 3 laps, even sometimes the first lap in the reverse grid. He's able to get all the way into first. So, we'll have to see what happens now.
We will indeed. Ticking down. We've got a few seconds before the lights come on. There they are. Boom. Right on cue. As we gear up for race number 2, Morton Evans, Snaith, Clark, Nija, McAllister, Norse, the 3 rows that will take to the start for race number 2 of the 2024 Ginetta Junior official eSeries. Round 6 takes us to Kent here at Brands Hatch. Lights out. Let's go racing for the second time this evening. And a poor start from Will Clark there, you can see from row 2. But it's Morton Evans that leads Nathan Snaith. Ishan Nija gets a punchy start as they're 2 by 2 at the back for the fight for 4th. Let's see what Nija can do as he tries to catapult himself to the outside of Will Clark. There's Nathan Snaith as well, trying to work his way forward with Lewis Morton Evans in the fight towards Druids. Covers off as the number 8 to the inside, and that's going to open the door for Will Clark to maybe attack Nathan Snaith for second. As there you can see Gabriel Norse in the 84 to the outside of Logan McAllister. Nija's dropped back in that 000 to last place towards Graham Hill Bend for the first time, and it's Lewis Morton Evans that can lead ahead of Nathan Snaith. Will Clark, though, very punchy. Gabriel Norse not hesitating to make some moves.
Yeah, great start from everybody there, very clean. And that's Lewis Morton Evans, as you say, getting a massive gap there. And we'd have expected, to be honest, to see Gabriel potentially gaining a couple more positions than he did even. But he hasn't. And that's going to leave it quite difficult because it seems like Logan, thinking he's much quicker than Gabriel potentially, holding on, really defending as hard as he can. And so he's just not going to let him pass without a fight, that's for sure, as they are going side by side now through the most tight and technical part of the track. They're going to be side by side to the next 2 corners, and Gabriel's up the inside, and he's made that position work. As that's contact between Will Clark and Ishan Nija there, and lots of drivers there, and that's Logan McAllister going spinning, which is going to be brilliant for Gabriel Norse, but not great for his championship at all, as he goes back almost to last.
It is last. I think it initially was Will Clark and Nathan Snaith that had the issue. Ishan Nija then got involved with getting call of a safety car to be brought out. The first time since Donington Park, Jordan Taylor finally can clock in because he's had a pretty lackluster last few rounds. Of course, this is going to neutralise the race. There you can see safety car in action. What an opportunity that could have been for Lewis Morton Evans, though, to have a 3-second gap after lap 1. If there wasn't a safety car, this still would have been a suspenseful race all the way to the end. But Morton Evans will control the pack from the front, and that just goes to show how quickly motorsport can turn things on their head.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jordan Taylor now getting a run for his money. He's now having to get the safety car out, and that's going to be, exactly what Logan would have been hoping for in that situation. Because, as you say, Gabriel now back on the... Also for Gabriel, actually, because Lewis Morton Evans had quite a big gap. So Gabriel is now going to be able to potentially get the jump on him at the start, or not. We'll have to see. But that will bring everybody obviously right close back together, and some of the damage that was unfortunately caused for Logan will have been reversed. So he does have a chance now to fight right back up. But again, Gabriel in a much stronger position, being much further up the track, but also obviously higher position. So Logan's got a lot of work to do to get through all of these drivers, and none of them are, off the front running pace. They're all very similar on pace, with, Ishan Nija qualified second for that first race. Will Clark is third in the championship. Nathan Snaith's been doing really well. So it's going to be tough for all the drivers now, and Gabriel Norse is going to hope to pull that gap as quickly as he possibly can. As we have word that safety car is in this lap, Lewis Moore Evans will be backing up the pack and hoping to get a good start.
Yeah, good restart is exactly what he's going to need, especially when you've got a driver like Gabriel Norse breathing down your neck. Look for, of course, Nathan Snaith in that podium place as well. He's taken a win this season. He's taken podium finishes this season. He's going to want to add to that tally here at Brands Hatch. Lewis Morton Evans, of course, controls the pace. We wait for him to put his foot to the floor and send us back underway. 16 more minutes of racing as race 2 restarts as we hurdle our way towards Paddock Hill Bend once more. It's a train of 5, and then Nathan Snaith, I should say, trying to pull his way to the outside of turn number 1. Not quite close enough there to really make anything work, but it's Gabriel Norse that takes the lead of the race. The up and under works as Morton Evans is less susceptible. Gabriel Norse as well with not a very good run. They're 3 wide towards Drew. It's Morton Evans on the outside as McAllister gets caught out by Ishan Nijar. Will Clark making the most of it, and what a capitalization that is from the number 48. He's worked his way from 4th into 3rd, contending for 2nd towards turn number 3. The up and under through Graham Hill might be there as they run their way towards 30s, but one thing is for certain, and it's Gabriel Norse that leads.
Lewis Moore Evans there. There's Logan McAllister getting bumped off towards the inside there. I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah, it seemed Lewis Moore Evans at the start there didn't contend that too much on Gabriel. Saw the pace that Gabriel had, potentially let him a little bit go through. Looks like Logan maybe made another little mistake there, probably as a coincidence of that previous incident. But Gabriel there, wasn't really contended going into that lead. I imagine Lewis Moore Evans hoping to latch onto the back of him. Did not quite work for him, and now he's back in 5th. But Logan is quite a long way off the back of the pack, 4.4 seconds, which is going to be quite a big gap for him to catch by the end of this race. So that is definitely not ideal for him. But it definitely throws things up in the air a little bit, as Gabriel now looking to pull the same gap that he did in the last race, with Nathan Snaith and Will Clark following him closely behind, but not quite close enough to make any moves just yet, as I'm sure Will Clark will wanting to be trying to take that 2nd spot, as his pace has proven that it's potentially possible for him. Lots of P's in that sentence. But yeah, Gabriel Norse now hoping that they start battling for him to pull that gap.
Yeah, we do love to come up with some fairly outlandish phrases in the commentary box, and I'm glad you've settled in so well to it, Jude. It's been awesome. Of course, 14 minutes left to go in this race as the top 5 break away ever so slightly. McAllister, though, getting dropped, of course, after a poor couple of laps as Will Clark tries to work his way into 2nd place. It's nose to tail, and the quality of this grid, by the way, the competition, I know from outside, if you've not watched us for the entirety of the season, it'll be, well, there's only 6 cars, what's the point? But the level of competition that we've got is immense, as there is a perfect example of it. Look at that from Ishan Nijar to thread the needle between Snaith and Clark as they run their way towards 30's Bend. It's then going to be the 000 that tries to go the long way round. The up and under, though, the switchback could be there from Snaith as Morton Evans tries to get himself into competition at 1, 2, 3, 4 line astern until Will Clark pulls out to the left. It'll be the outside by the time they reach Hawthorns. They're going to settle into 2 rows of 2, or are they? Because Nathan Snaith might try and fill the gap. It's Nijar that has to defend 2nd place. Who's going to be there for 3rd, though? Will Clark be able to get the switchback? Has he got the exit as we run our way towards this next right-hander? It's very fast, it's very flowing. Will the inside work out for him, or will there be an attack from behind? Around the outside goes Ishan Nijar. Nathan Snaith, though, tries to get involved, and after all of that, they're as they were until Lewis Morton Evans tries to go for a courageous move to the inside of Sheen and Dingledale.
Brilliant battling we're seeing here with Nijar there. That was a great move from him, just holding that momentum around the outside through an incredibly fast corner, and he was able to hold on to that 2nd position. So that's absolutely brilliant for him. As it seems to have frozen here, the live stream.
Don't worry, you're not the only one. It's not just your iPad playing up. It's all good.
That's good.
Just to run off, by the way. If Jude does sound like he's commentating from a toilet, I can't say for certain that he's not. But it's the microphone is the iPad. Okay, it's not usually this. It's not unbearable, but it's fine. Just to go off what we can see in terms of live timing is Gabriel Norse that's leads from Logan McAllister, Ishan Nijar, and Will Clark is the top 4 as the last time they broke the beam. Then it's Snaith from Morton Evans. Of course, that is subject to change. So we'll keep you updated as and when we can. Of course, the gaps at the front ever changing. Gabriel Norse, though, seems certain to be able to go on and potentially take what will be his 8th victory of the season. And there we go. We got pictures back so we can run you through it properly. Ishan Nijar, though, 3rd place in race 1. He's been mightily impressive thus far in race 2 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had his most brilliant results of the season, and he was able to qualify on the front row, and he's able to been holding on to that. In the last round, he of course got the podium, P3, and now he's in 2nd, with Logan McAllister a decent way back, who I believe took it last time. Did take it last time, and so as that's. Sorry, I thought that was something weird going on there, just a bit of timing. But yeah, Nijar holding on to that 2nd place. And yeah, this is, I believe, his best result of the season so far, if he can hold on to this. He has got a strong driver behind him of Will Clark, who will definitely be wanting to take that position from him, obviously. But if he's able to defend well, keep his pace up, he'll be able to take the 2nd position, have his best result of the season, and he'll be very happy with that, and climb up another podium spot from the last race.
Indeed so. We'll find out, of course, in due course. With 10.5 minutes left to go, we approach into the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half of race number 2 of round 6 here at Brands Hatch. Gabriel Norse versus Ishan Nijar, 2.5 seconds is the gap. That doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. And behind that, it's pretty close, apart from McAllister getting on the back of Lewis Morton-Evans, looking to the inside of Druids Bend. And is there going to be much contest? I think McAllister should have that one in the bag. Morton-Evans, though, giving it a go to the outside. In the end, it's too long of a way around, and it will be McAllister that stays in front. Just on the point I was making a couple of moments ago in regards to the level of competence or skill in this field, 5 of these drivers on this field have scored at least 1 podium. I think all of them, in fact, anyone that's gotten onto the podium on this grid has done it more than once this season. Morton-Evans, of course, unfortunately, has not done so. His best result thus far this season is a 4th place, which he was able to get at race 2 at Silverstone last time out. But even then, the level of skill that we've got, 3 of these drivers, Norse, McAllister and Snaith, have all taken race wins. Will Clark has come incredibly close. Nijar is within 2.7 seconds of getting a race victory. Just because we've not got the quantity, we're not holding back on the quality.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, these cars, as we were talking about at the start of this live stream, are incredibly difficult to drive. And so these guys are doing a brilliant job with having so many different winners and podium finishers this season. We've certainly not been short of some racing action, with lots of battles, lots of different drivers, as I was saying, on the podium. But yeah, it's great to watch, and especially, there has been very minimal safety cars, probably a similar number, if not less, safety cars than we've had in real life this season. So it's very impressive, and especially around here, incredibly difficult track. We've had a couple of difficult tracks. I'd argue this is probably one of the more difficult ones. So doing a great job of incredibly close battling here. But so we see Logan McAllister now in 4th place, looking to challenge for that podium spot, as he is catching back up to that to Will Clark. But it does look like Gabriel Norse is going to be pulling that gap, as he's pushing it out now towards 3 seconds. As it's dropping back a little bit there, but he is certainly gaining time over Ishan Nijar, as we would probably expect, based on how this championship has gone so far. But as we were saying, Ishan Nijar in 2nd place, holding that gap to Will Clark, currently on for his best result of the season.
Is indeed. That is a remarkable one, if he's able to do it. We'll soon find out. 7 minutes 45 seconds left of this race. Of course, this is the virtual race here at Brands Hatch for the Ginetta Juniors. They're going to be taken to the real life track. Jude is going to be on it over the duration of course, this weekend. How are you feeling coming into this weekend? What challenges are there? Of course, for me right now, I'm in Norfolk, so a little bit away from Kent, but it is absolutely pouring down. Is the forecast similar for you? I mean, how are you guys in the real life going to be approaching this weekend? Because it's something that one of these drivers potentially could have to do next season.
Yeah, well, I believe that it's due to be mostly overcast throughout these next couple of days. Today we haven't actually been on track. Yesterday we were on track, so there's some weird noise rules around Brands Hatch. That means we had to go yesterday and not today. So today we've just been lazing around a little bit, not doing a huge amount. and we couldn't really even do a track walk because, well, there was some track day on, so I'm not really sure what happened there, to be honest. But yeah, the rain today has been on, off, on, off, on, off, probably starting up about 10 different times today up here, or depending on where you are, maybe down here. But it's been absolutely mental weather, and I'm hoping that tomorrow it's potentially a little bit more stable. I mean, I'd quite like the mixed conditions. I was going very well in the mixed the other day, but yeah, it's just been absolutely crazy, and to see a little bit more rhythm would be nice, but whether it's wet or dry, it'll be very interesting around here. It's very interesting in the dry with the racing that we're going to get. So yeah, I mean, in the wet it'll be absolutely mental. So yeah, the mindset going into it is very much kind of staying open-minded and, you know, just making sure that you have an idea of all your wet lines and all that kind of thing, and having a bit of a plan for both, especially with how crazy the weather has been. But yeah, that's the kind of mindset going into it. As we look now, Nijar and Logan McAllister having a bit of a battle now, as that's Nijar's dropped down to 4th there, so there's some mistake there has happened. And Logan McAllister and Will Clark have got through, and now Nijar and Logan seem to be battling.
Yeah, it's getting quite busy, quite frisky out on track, and unfortunately for Nijar, has had some sort of issue, but second place is not too far away, let's put it that way. It's himself, McAllister and Clark battling for second to, well, pretty much that has been the ceiling of this weekend, this evening, I should say, with Gabriel Norse running out in front. The domination defined from the 84. 5 minutes left to go at the line. It's going to translate into 3 more laps. McAllister on the back of the white 48 machine. That's, of course, Will Clark. It's the purple of the 95 that's in hot pursuit. Defensive goes Will. Here comes McAllister to the outside, and what needs to be a championship-saving evening. He tries to go around the outside, but opts for the up and under, and the crispness of that. Look at that, the precision. He's able to get underneath. He's got to be late on the brakes into Druids, and that opens the door for Ishan Nijar to nip his way up the inside of Will Clark. Can he seal the deal? They're going to emerge side by side as they run down the hill towards turn 3. Will Clark stays ahead for now.
Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to hold on to these positions at the minute. He's being absolutely attacked left, right and centre. And that's Ishan Nijar now trying to come up his inside as we come now towards the back straight. He might be able to hold this around the outside and get a good run, but it doesn't look... Oh, it does, and he's able to hold it alongside. He's going to have the inside for the next corner if he can keep this run down the straight. And we're going to have Gabriel Norse now just pulling ahead. And he's able to get that 5-second gap, which is going to be plenty to win this race, I'm sure, unless he makes a silly mistake. But that's now Ishan Nijar holding it around the outside of Will Clark there. Brilliant racing from these two, as they're being incredibly respectful of each other through the most difficult section of this track. And they're able to still hold it side by side for the last 3 corners now, as that's going to be Ishan Nijar who just manages to get ahead.
And is indeed through Sheen and Dingledale. That's a slight little bit of a twitch from Nijar, who of course is vying for that driver of the round and, well, is the person to get it. Unfortunately for Harry Power, and a lack of power going to his steering wheel in race 1, he's opted not to contend for the rest of the evening. So based on, to be fair, even if he wasn't the only driver that had won it, I would still give it to him. He's deserved it all season long, and today his results have shown how good he is. Ishan Nijar will then be our driver of the round. Out onto the home straight, of course, this pit straight that runs you towards Paddock Hill Bend. It'll be 2 laps left to run, and Logan McAllister setting a personal best of the race. 5 seconds, though, clear of Gabriel Norse. But track limits is a 5-second penalty. If McAllister can keep it clean and maybe has a, Christmas come early. I know we're in September still, but Mariah Carey is defrosting. Maybe there's a chance that Gabriel Norse gets a penalty and McAllister wins.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen that, of course. The track limits around here, very strict, I would say. And, very easy to do. So it's something you need to be massively aware of as you come into these rounds. And there's a few main easy places to do it, some less easy, and some where if you do it, you're likely to end up in a wall. So I don't think they're massively beneficial to use, to be honest, either, because typically you just run a bit too wide often. So it's not the most ideal thing to be using anyway, but nevertheless, very easy to use and can flip a race on its head in a corner. So it's something you need to be really aware of. But now we see Gabriel Norse out in front without any track limits penalties, and he'll be hoping to keep it that way. He's 4 seconds ahead, so a 5-second time penalty, of course, would indeed drop him into second, but I'm sure he's going to be able to hold it not like that. And we now see that Logan McAllister has pulled a gap to Ishan Nijar of about 2.7 seconds, so that's a nice cushion for him as they were battling, and he's able to pull ahead out of the pressure now. But there isn't going to be enough time left for him to catch Gabriel, really. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be a fairly stable race now, as everyone's at least a second away from each other.
You say stable race. I see potentially for one final. That was a lot. We've had a lot of P's today, and not in the literal sense, unless your name's Tom O'Farrell, who is presumably busting for one as such. So, like I say, probably should have taken your advice of doing it from the bathroom, right, Jude? Anyway, we digress. We're professionals, ladies and gentlemen, in the commentary box. Not really. Anyway, 1 minute left to go on the clock. We've got the final lap of the race. It's Gabriel Nordstrom, Logan McAllister, Ishan Nijar, Will Clark, and Nathan Snaith, our top 5. And I mean, Gabriel Norse, right? He went on that streak of 4 race wins in a row. He's going to do another sweep today. He hasn't had a winless round since Donington Park. That's his only winless round. Apart from that, he has taken either a win, a double win, or a win in second place. How is this man not like? How is he? What does he have for breakfast?
I know he's been incredibly strong. He's just never really had that bad luck of a round, and so he's just been absolutely, dominating this championship a little bit. At the start of the round, it was a very close fight between him and Logan, but it hasn't been that way. Logan's had some incredibly bad luck, and beyond the first round was it kind of started to fall apart a little bit for Logan. Not always his fault, but yeah, that's just unfortunately been the way it has been for him. Of course, it's not over, the championship, just unlikely for him to win it, as we now see Gabriel taking yet another win here at Brands Hatch in the Ginetta Junior official eSeries, and another win for him to add to his absolutely enormous tally.
Yeah, he ticks it up to 8 wins from 12 races this season. Gabriel Norse, a man on fire. Nathan Snaith comes home P5. It's McAllister in second. Ishan Nijar from Will Clark, the top 4, as Lewis Morton Evans, what could have been maybe with the safety car, comes home in 6th. Of course, we finally did get to see a safety car this race. That is the standings, of course, with track limits to be recalculated, provided after the adjustment with the safety car as such. Looking forward to seeing what the top 3 thoughts are, though, because it's exactly the same as we saw in race 1.
Yeah, it is actually. I hadn't actually noticed that. We've got the exact same top 3, so we're going to have another very, very similar podium interview, with a somewhat similar race, to be fair. Gabriel able to pull out in front and get that gap, and able to pretty comfortably take that win. A little bit more carnage at the start with the safety car, but yeah, I mean, another very positive race for Gabriel.
Was indeed. Of course, we'll make our way up the podium, so Gabriel will have to be patient. I'm sure he's used to it by now. Ishan Nijar, though, we'll start with you. 2 races, 2 P3s, and the driver of the round as well, so you get yourself a nice pair of gloves to go with it. How's today been for you? If he can hear me, that's the... Ishan, can you hear us?
Oh,
Maybe...
sorry.
There we go. What was up?
Yeah. So it was quite a good day, to be honest. Good 2 races. Quite happy with double P3, and it was just quite a lot of fun, to be honest. Which is what you're really here for. So yeah, quite enjoyed that.
That battle between yourself and Will and Logan for a while as well was quite remarkable. The initial start of the race, talk us through your perspective of that one, because it happened, right?
Yeah, well, basically, I was on the outside, I think. I went to cover Logan, I think, or Gabriel. I think it was Logan. Went to the outside of Will. There was a little bit of door-to-door rubbing, but it was clean racing, I think. So I tried to go around the outside of him, but I think there was lots of carnage as well. So later on in the lap, there was quite a big crash. Unfortunately, me and Logan kind of got collected by that, I think. So it wasn't really the best, but obviously his safety car came out and saved our races, to be honest. And then it was just like a full push from there. I was P2 for quite a while, so that was quite good. But then, and again, another silly mistake and pushed me back and made my race a lot harder than it needed to be, I think. So, but yeah, I'm still happy with P3.
Of course, you are our PASR driver of the round for round number 6. You get yourself a pair of gloves. Is that a bonus for you?
Yeah, that's a definite bonus. Yeah, it would be make sim racing a bit more immersive, I guess.
Good going. And they look awesome because, you know, style points or something. If you're going to do it in style. Ishan, congratulations on the double podium. Congrats on finally
Thank
getting
you.
driver of the round. I'm surprised it's taken this long, but with 2 rounds to go, you finally sealed the deal, and hopefully we'll see you back next week to get some more.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Awesome stuff. That's Ishan Nijar. 2 P2s. We make our way. P2 in the race 1, P3 in race 2. For him, it's Logan McAllister that managed to get himself 2nd place in race number 2. Hard fought though. You spent a lot of that race at the back, and then a late charge towards the front. Some unfortunate incidents to go your way, and all in all, just once again a really tough evening where you spent a lot of it fighting yourself uphill.
Yeah, a very unlucky round again. I think most of my rounds have always been on the back foot. I don't think there's been one race where I've been at the front from lap 1 and have been able to just build that gap. I've always been on the back foot, which is really unfortunate and just not really what you want to be happening. A good race though, good comeback. I just, again, got really unlucky with the crash. On, was it lap 3 or 2? Yeah, very unlucky with that crash. Yeah, just overall really unlucky round, which is really annoying. But yeah, we're going to give it our all in the last round, most definitely.
Awesome stuff. Well, all to play for, nothing to lose, and all to send, right? Alton Park, I mean, a circuit that at the beginning of the season, you hit the ground running. A 2nd, a 1st, and 2 fastest laps. While we are on the slightly altered island layout, is it a circuit you're feeling confident for?
Yeah, well, I've only driven a couple of laps around there, but it looks quite fun. The elevation going through turn 1, 2, and then going down that bit. Cutting both chicanes is going to be quite fun and interesting, but yeah.
You know what, Logan? You would make a great pundit. Jude Peters, look out, because Logan McAllister is coming for your job. Anytime we're doing an onboarding quali, he's just going to say they're running through that bit. Love it, mate. Of course, next week, hopefully for you, you're going to have a chance at securing the championship, but even more, even if it's just a couple of wins. And of course, either way, a decent prize. You know, P2 or P3 in the championship, it's not bad going. So always going to be something to play for you this season, and looking back, a lot of positives to take for you, right, Logan?
Yeah, well, we've fortunately signed up for the scholarship anyway. We did this as a trial to see how we would do, and obviously it's been really competitive with Ishan and Gabriel and Will Clark. But yeah, we've signed up for it. We're going to give it all, even if we finish 2nd in this championship. And is it 3 hours we get with the sim?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely go to use ahead of the scholarship. So obviously we want to win this championship, but even if we come 2nd, it will give us an advantage going into the scholarship.
Well, best of luck for next week. Best of luck for the scholarship in of itself. And, well, if Gabriel Norse does tick off the championship next week, you'll be seeing him. You'll be rivals both virtual and real. That'll be something to watch. But take care, and we'll see you next week, Logan.
Thank you very much. Bye.
And Gabriel Norse, a man on a mission. What's that now? 8 wins he's taken this season. Gabriel, I mean, it's becoming a formality. We start a race, and we're almost certain you're going to be the one to come out on top. The pace is there. The consistency is there, and even when you have to carve your way through a field, you're able to do it almost flawlessly. 2 more races to tick off, and, well, what can go wrong?
I'm not sure really anything can go wrong. If it does, I will be so sad. But yeah, I mean, it's been a very good season, and I've really just been overall the most consistent and the fastest. And that really just helps to win races and take the championship lead. And I think I'm now like around 40 points, 40, 50. or something ahead of Logan, so it'll be quite hard to lose the championship now, but never really know what could happen.
So that confidence, obviously the wave that you're riding with that, does that help you going into a race? I mean, compare it to maybe earlier on in the season where it was more an unknown. Are you sort of more at ease at the beginning of a race than you were maybe at round one?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, round one I was very, very nervous because I just wanted to do my best. I kind of hit the ground running, taking pole position in the first win of the season. I mean, carving my way through the field has been not easy, but it's been quite fun. This race, I mean, that lap 1 incident, I had wheel damage from there on, and so I was kind of turning 45 degrees to the left, which was not great. So I was quite a bit slower than usual, but yeah, so far it's been so good.
Amazing stuff. Well, best of luck for next week. I'm sure it'll be more of the same, and well, whether or not you get the championship, I mean, whether it's a when, whether it's an if, I'm sure you'll do absolutely amazing out on the real world track. And Gabriel, get yourself some well-deserved rest, practice up, and we'll see you at Alton Park.
Yep, thank you.
Gabriel Norse, double win once again for the 3rd time this season he's swept the round, and of course for the 8th time this season he's been able to tick off a victory. Jude, before we wrap up, final thoughts and feelings from you from what we've seen today and what we can expect in a week's time.
Yeah, it was very interesting tonight. I mean, obviously a little bit of carnage in the racing, but it does seem like Gabriel's going to be able to take this one. I mean, again, Logan had a little bit of an unfortunate round, just not quite able to match or get past Logan because of a little bit of misfortune and some of his own mistakes. So yeah, not quite able to take any more points out of Gabriel, and Gabriel was able to extend his lead by another 10 points or so. So yeah. It was unfortunate for Logan, but nevertheless, a very interesting round. We have learned who the likely winner obviously is going to be, and of course Gabriel sounded very confident he was going to be able to take this championship. So yeah, I'm sure we'll have to see what happens in the next race, but we're going to see at Alton probably Gabriel less likely to be fighting too hard on the positions now that he knows that he's in a very comfortable place in the championship.
Yeah, exactly, but you still want to end the season on a high, and just look at the journey that we've had. Alton Park, all the way back at the beginning of the season, Donington, Anglesey, Snetterton, Silverstone and Brands. We've ticked off some of the nation's favourites in terms of the circuits, and in a week's time we round it all off to decide the champion of the PASR 2024 Ginetta Junior official eSeries. Round 6 was at Brands. In a week's time we'll go to Alton Park, but of course that's not the only series that we're running here at Perfect Acceleration Sim Racing. There you can see the Pro Sim Rig Super Touring 2024 Sim Series on Tuesday the 1st of October. As we head towards spooky season, we head to the Ardennes, we head to Spa for 2 8-lap races of this iconic championship. The championship itself is close as ever. We've got real world race winners who fight and contend at the top level, teammates that do battle amongst each other, and always close competition with rising stars as well. All the action to come for the Pro Sim Rig Super Touring 2024 Sim Series, and a lot of cash money on offer in terms of the prizes. A lot of very good prizes, of course, provided by our sponsors at Pro Sim Rig. So thank you for their continued support of PASR and their amazing top quality stuff as well. It'll be Chris Dawes and Alex Newman on the commentary team for that on Tuesday. Of course, today it was myself, Zach Sweeney, and iPad man himself, Jude Peters, alongside me in the commentary box. Tom O'Farrell behind the scenes with Mixer, and of course the man to thank behind it all here at PASR, and Jordan Taylor, who isn't just a name on a screen. He actually is a safety car driver again this season. He came out, of course, at the beginning of race 2 to complete our team behind, well, not necessarily behind the scenes, the team here for the 2024 Ginetta Junior official eSeries. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching along at home. Make sure to like, subscribe, turn the bell on for notifications to stay up to date with all things PASR. And until next time, we'll see you on Tuesday for the Pro Sim Rig Super Touring Series. We'll see you on Thursday to crown our champion. It's goodbye for now.